What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Another great night of boxing. We got to see a lot of fights, ton of fights. I enjoyed the undercard, the Donald Trump, anti-Donald Trump card on the Pacquiao Bradley. This is the post-fight review, Boxing Ego style, of Manny Pacquiao versus Timothy Bradley. I give you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. First of all, I gotta say, shout out to and congratulations to the man from General Santos, the Philippines, Manny Pacquiao, on another victory. He defeated Timothy Bradley on my scorecard. I actually didn't tally it up, but I'm pretty good with the eye test. I had him winning. Like I told you guys before, I had him winning the previous two fights as well. That's hence why I didn't necessarily have to see this fight. I would have preferred a Crawford or Amir Khan. But back to this particular fight. Both fighters were definitely game. Let me start off with the good. The good is Pacquiao being on a long layoff. He came out pretty sharp, and there was no real remnants of his shoulder issue, and he was sharp, especially with the 1-2s. The first couple of rounds, I thought he was more technical. At the end of the fight, he started to box a bit more instead of, like, he knew he was up in the fight, so he started to box instead of getting reckless. Because sometimes that getting reckless when you're up, people get mad at guys like Floyd Mayweather for doing it, like when he's clearly ahead, but you don't want to let someone back into the fight when you're clearly beating them. You know what I mean? It is a competition, and I think Pacquiao learned probably from the Marquez knockout, clearly winning that round and the round before that, and the things were going his way, and he got over aggressive, got too greedy, and he got knocked out by Marquez. So he boxed in spots. I've seen him box before, like in the Brandon Rios fight, where he kind of held and used some lateral movement. I have no problem with that. You're supposed to mix it up. You're not supposed to make it easy on your opponent. Now, so all in all, good speed, his power, he still has some pop, good combination punching, and he's just awkward, real fidgety, hard to get a read on. Now, let's talk about some of the bad. The bad for me was Timothy Bradley. I think skill-wise, he could have, I'm not saying he could beat Pacquiao, because, I mean, obviously, in my opinion, I just told you, I thought Bradley lost all 3 fights, even though some of them were more competitive than people said, and I'm going to get to that in the ugly. But I think he could have even fared better. Like, to me, Bradley, I don't know what it is, but he has all the potential, all the skills in the world, and he chooses to do things at weird times to me, and that's kind of the bad for Bradley. I thought he came out sharp and disciplined, which was good, because it was a far cry from the rematch when in the second fight Bradley was loading up on every shot, and he felt he had to show that he had power because people said he had no pop. So I think Bradley sometimes struggles with his identity as a fighter. Look at the Jessie Vargas fight. Jessie Vargas, he was dominating Jessie Vargas by coming forward, putting a lot of pressure on Jessie Vargas, dominating him. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, and it looks like he's in phenomenal shape, so it didn't look like it was fatigue. Out of nowhere, he started trying to move and box Jessie Vargas, and then Jessie Vargas was able to catch him because he wasn't coming forward throwing combinations like he was. He was throwing wild combinations against Jessie Vargas, and it was working. So I'm from the school, like, when it comes to boxing, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Bradley, to me, does things at weird times. Like I said, he was throwing wild and bring the fight to Jessie Vargas' front door, and then all of a sudden in the 12th round he starts trying to box, and he gets timed and caught and almost knocked out in that round. You know what I mean? So I kind of seen that here. He doesn't, sometimes he's not making the adjustments at the proper time, or like he'll be like, he was winning a round, he was winning one round, in one of the mid rounds he was winning, and then all of a sudden he stopped doing some of the things and got lazy with it, and then Pacquiao started catching him and doing great in the last minute of that round. So I think Bradley, it just sometimes with the adjustments, it's not sharp. He's the competitive streak, he's always competitive, but sometimes he doesn't make the proper adjustments at the right time. And to credit to Pacquiao is Pacquiao doesn't make it easy for you. He's an experienced veteran, he has speed, power, he's a southpaw, and again, it's not his job to make it easy for you to adjust. Against a lesser fighter than Pacquiao, Bradley could probably make the adjustment, but Pacquiao is Pacquiao. The first round was a filler round. See, I was doing the round by round tweets, and then I started eating pizza, so I missed some rounds in there, but I watched the whole fight. The first fight was a filler round. I actually gave it to Bradley. I thought he was pushing the pace, good ring generalship, and he was busier than Pacquiao. Pacquiao was more tentative and didn't really throw much. And Bradley doubled up. This tweet is, he doubled up on his right hand, and he kept punches out there, and I thought that was good for round 1. this is, now let's talk about the ugly. The ugly is HBO's commentary, man. This is like outlandish. I really like Roy Jones Jr. I think he generally knows what he's talking about, but sometimes the other commentary is crazy. Like Harold Letterman, they keep pushing, HBO keeps pushing this agenda that it has to be an all-action fight, and I'm scoring the fight for whoever's coming for. That is not how boxing is run. I understand what you personally like, but there's a criteria for judging. And like, I felt I have no problem with Pacquiao winning. I thought he won. I told you that at the beginning of this video. So this is not sour grapes, but I'm just being real. I thought there were some swing rounds or rounds that I thought Bradley won, and they would credit it to Pacquiao. And I just, from an HBO unbiased commentary perspective, with now I'm not gonna say licensed, but with professionals, you seem like you would want to get the best possible knowledge. And like Letterman said, he scored round 1 for Pacquiao, but again, that was a filler round, more so for Pacquiao. So, and Bradley was busier, then why'd you give it to Pacquiao? You know what I'm saying? And it was throughout the telecast, they were saying just crazy stuff in this particular fight. Round 3, as you guys look at my tweet, unbiased. Round 3, very hard to score. Anxious to see CompuBox landed thrown. Neither guy dominating other guy yet. That's as real as I could possibly put it. But any round like that, I feel like HBO is going to automatically give it to the person that they're seemingly rooting for, which is Pacquiao. Round 4 for Pacquiao. Landed some bombs, but Bradley timing big rights. And Bradley, he was doing good in spots. Pacquiao was doing more in round 4, but Bradley was doing good. And I put HBO tripping. Pacquiao came on towards the end of the round, but Bradley controlled more of the round. Bradley, round 5. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Round 5, if a guy is controlling much of the tempo for 2 minutes, and then one person comes on in the last minute, this is just like the first fight. Someone comes on in the last minute, and unless they did something super significant, had you drunk and knocked you down and knocking you upside the ring, and did something really, really drastic, it's hard to score the round for the person who only had 1 minute or less than a minute, because it wasn't sustained action nonstop for a minute. It's hard to give that person the round. You can't, if someone's doing great work for 2 minutes of the round, unless something significantly changes in the round, you don't just, oh, that overshadows everything, Pacquiao stole the round. Because again, watch the round. Pacquiao didn't do enough to overshadow and overshadow is the best word. Overshadow everything Bradley did in that particular round. And then Lampley said, I see the rebirth of Manny Pacquiao. I thought that was a funny comment. Then it got interesting. Round 8, Pacquiao got hurt by Timothy Bradley. And then Max Kellerman said something like to the effect of, Pacquiao uttered some words to Bradley like, oh, you hurt me, something like that. And Pacquiao was moving about, clinching and stuff. So that was a shock. Now, one tip to Timothy Bradley, if he were to ever see this video, or something that I observed, Timothy Bradley has to work on keeping a better poker face. Guys like Brandon Rios, you'll be hurting them and they'll be getting hit with hard shots. They have great poker faces, right? Even Golovkin, I've seen a pretty Curtis Stevens hit him with some big shots. He has a pretty solid poker face. Bradley, when he starts getting frustrated, he looks visibly frustrated. It reminds me of Shane Mosley, kind of. Like Shane Mosley watched the Mayweather-Mosley fight. When Mayweather started hitting him with them piston rights, you see Shane Mosley just look so disappointed and so let down and so discouraged. He's just like shaking his head like, man, I'm getting hit with these shots. And it is discouraging when you're getting beat, but at the same time, that's also a sign of weakness to a predator-style opponent like Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? You don't want him to know he's getting the best of you in rounds, or that you're discouraged. Even look at the way Timothy Bradley falls. It reminds me of, there's a Kevin Hart joke where he's talking about, he's like, Shaq fall funny as fuck. Oh no. And he was talking about how Shaq falls when he was playing basketball. He falls awkwardly on the canvas and stuff like that. Bradley, in the Ruslan Provodnikov fight, in this fight, he always falls like weird, like he's doing cartwheels and tumbling backwards and stuff. And I understand that there's shots that hurt and stuff. I'm not trying to clown, I'm just being real. It's just, he shows so much of his disappointment. Then the HBO telecaster talked about Canelo fighting. In my honest opinion, I think Canelo would break down Pacquiao, but I'll save that for another video because this is about this particular fight, and I don't want dumb comments about, oh no, this is, because I'm not trying to steal Pacquiao's shine. And then my final tweet, because I told you I missed some rounds. Pacquiao won again, in my opinion. 3rd time's the charm, laugh out loud. And then someone sent me a picture of Terry Crews and said Bradley looked good early. So it was a fun fight. Shout out to Pacquiao. He did his thing. I thought he won. He clearly won. Bradley came out sharp, but then it looked like he didn't have as much of an identity as to what he wanted to do. And again, maybe that's a credit to Pacquiao's awkwardness and what he brings to the table. Pacquiao is a experienced fighter with power, with speed. It just looked like he didn't know what to do. And I think Bradley, he has to work on the elite level adjustments. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. Like when he had Pacquiao hurt, Pacquiao looked pretty badly hurt in round 8. And then he let Pacquiao come back in round 9 and win round 9. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take, especially when you're not the biggest puncher to begin with. If you get your man hurt, you might have to just go for broke. You might get knocked out in the process, but it's better than losing on the scorecards, which you were on your way to doing. You know what I'm saying? So you have to make those executive decisions. It's a gamble, and you want to fight smart. But I thought Bradley overall needed to pick up the tempo in certain spots. I thought he started real good, real sharp, but as the frustration grew, he got knocked down twice. Just kind of getting lazy, got caught with short shots. Pacquiao's speed still there, and I mean, it is what it is. He didn't make those proper adjustments to win the fight, and that's the best way to put it. But I'm not really feeling a lot of the HBO commentary with some of the stuff they say. They keep talking about how Mayweather Pacquiao was boring, and this was so much of a different fight. Styles make fights. It's just, that's how it is. You know what I mean? You put Pacquiao in there with Chris Algieri, he's getting knocked down 6 times because that's the level he's at. You put him in there with Bradley, Pacquiao showed you he can beat Bradley. Mayweather's a different style fight for him. So yeah, it wasn't as much sustained action because Pacquiao couldn't get off like he wanted to. No one's gonna just sit in front of you like a rock'em sock'em robot. And again, you keep comparing it to this fight. Mayweather didn't lose and get knocked down twice, and you know what I'm saying, and lose to a guy that he's already fought 2 other times. So styles make fights. Let each fight be each fight. And I just hate some of the apples and oranges comparison. The other thing that they said, oh yeah, the HBO is just like, it's clear who their favorites are, who they're trying to like advocate for. Things like, they said, oh, Pacquiao, he moved his arm, his shoulder's nagging him. So I started watching after they said that, and I'm like, damn, he re-aggravated his shoulder injury because he's coming off of an injury. And then they asked Freddie Roach in the fight, hey, did Pacquiao come back to the corner and complain about his shoulder? And Freddie Roach was like, no, my guy didn't. Hey son, he didn't complain about his shoulder. Nothing's wrong with his shoulder. Then they asked Pacquiao after the fight, and Pacquiao said, no, my shoulder was good. I was just trying to get off with my hook and get off with my shots. So again, it's like HBO was trying to create their own narrative, a storyline. What was wrong with Pacquiao because Bradley was looking sharper in those rounds, you know what I mean? And there was nothing wrong with his shoulder, but let the HBO commentary call it. They would lead you to believe that his shoulder was re-aggravated in this particular fight. Just simple stuff like that doesn't make sense. Post-fight, they showed Bradley the replay. I thought that was cool. They didn't even ask Pacquiao about him getting hurt in round 8. I really wanted to hear what he had to say, because there's a video Dante's Boxing Nation did with Freddie Roach, and Freddie Roach said, I've never said that Pacquiao got hurt in the fight. And then he plays a clip where Freddie Roach admitted post-fight in the second fight that Bradley hurt Pacquiao. Now he hurt him again. He just wasn't able to pull the trigger and capitalize off of it. So I was anxious to hear kind of what Pacquiao had to say about that moment. And I thought Pacquiao, I give a lot of credit to Pacquiao, both guys, but Pacquiao especially, he showed heart because he looked like he was in bad shape. He started, when you see a warrior like Pacquiao who gets caught with the shot and then they start clinching and doing what people call running and not fighting their toe-to-toe style, then that's alarming. Because I used to see Pacquiao, I watched all of his fights basically. He get hurt to the body or hit with hard shots by guys that are much bigger and stronger than Bradley, guys like Antonio Margarito, and he would start fighting firepower with firepower. But again, I think he learned from the Marquez knockout. He's getting older, so he's getting a little bit wiser to regroup, you know what I mean, before you make matters worse. So I give him credit because he bounced back like a tornado in round 9, and that was one of his best rounds to me. So a good performance. If this is the last fight for Manny Pacquiao, let me know what you guys thought. Bradley can bounce back. There's guys he can beat. He just has to work on certain things. Just more or less adjustments and having a solid game plan, and don't abandon the game plan that's working. And if the game plan isn't working, abandon it and start trying to find those little adjustments, because that's what, at the elite level, that's what the fights come down to. Who's making those like precise adjustments to give you the strategic edge. And that's really all I got to say about this fight. Pacquiao Bradley, I enjoyed it. It was a good scrap. Probably more action than the first two in general. More suspense, more drama. Let me know what you guys thought. Share the video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.